I was the only one in class. 47 is like a number I'll never forget, because that's the number I used to pass every term. And
that's like the last number.
That was yes, that was the last number. So
wow.
Yeah, and I was in grade 6. That happened for a lot of years. It stuck on me a lot of years. When I was in grade 6, we're going into grade 7. All your friends know how to read, and they'll obviously do well in the grade 7 exam.
Yeah.
I remember kneeling down in Chilenge at my parents' house and saying, God, if you teach me how to read, I promise to read the whole New Testament.
Hold on. How old were you?
Must have been 12, 13.
At that time, you knew how to turn to God.
Yes, because I grew up in a Christian family.
Right.
So, you would hear scriptures pretty much every day. Yeah, my parents would take me to church pretty much every Sunday. So you would know that there's a God somewhere. Yeah. And you know that you're supposed to invite Jesus in your heart. So I knew the basics as a young person.
Yeah.
And so I turned to him and said, if you teach me how to read, I'll read the Bible. If you teach me how to read, I'll be a good boy. Promises that you make. And surprisingly, it's like the shells just broke off my ears. I started understanding in class.
Wow.
A month after that prayer, I started constructing normal sentences. And it moved from people jumping me in the same class to people coming to me to say, help me solve this math problem, or help me understand this story. It's like God just transformed everything. It was a miracle how I started learning how to read.
Wow.
And that very time I switched from 47 to number 1. Not only the
wow.
class, not only in that class, but the whole school. And so it was such a joy to go and see the results stuck somewhere, and up there it's your name. You never even used to appear on that list. And so it's an inspirational story. My life is a testimony, man. And some people come to me and say, why Machita and Vamulungu? Because I have constantly seen God in my life. Fast forward, when I went to the University of Zambia, I was in my second year. I was struck with an illness. I was by Findeko House. I collapsed, and when I woke up at Findeko House, I was mentally ill.
Whoa.
Yeah, they tried to take me to the doctors for an explanation and treatment. They also couldn't understand what was happening to me. My mind was completely upside down. I didn't know what I was saying. There was no thought process. I didn't know who I was, where I was, what year it was. Everything was just like I don't exist.
Wow.
Yeah. So the doctor said it was cerebral malaria that graduated to bipolar, that graduated to mental illness.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I tell the story, some people think it just happened for a week or two. But no, it happened for over a year. I didn't know who I was for that long. 1 whole year. And it was exactly after What Would Jesus Do If He Came to Zambia came out. So, people were celebrating me. I didn't even know who I was, And because of that song, a lot of doors opened up because it went on the charts. The video did so well.
Yeah.
I got a lot of deals. But just when I'm beginning to enjoy the cream of that hard work for that song, I was struck with that illness. So you walk into a meeting with a boss for, named companies, and instead of having a normal conversation and getting your paycheck,
it just spirals out of control.
Yes. Things go crazy and
wow.
they chase you out of the office. I remember at one place they even called the security guards. So it was really bad. It was bad. I was dropped out of the University of Zambia. I lost friends. I was even dumped by my chick. It was like things were really bad for me. It felt like the end, and that's why Isaiah 43 really means a lot to me, because like I saw that literally coming alive, not just reading the words of the Bible. So dropping out of school, you go to hospital after hospital and nothing is happening. You are still the same. You get better, but you still get into it. And because you think you're okay, you're even going for radio interviews because the album just came out then. But the things you are saying are just,
they're not adding up.
Abnormal. And people out there just like, your reputation is just getting messed up by the day. You're in the road, you're taking off clothes. I remember if you ask
it was that bad.
Yes, if you ask Horn FM DJs, they'll tell you I once took off clothes in very open place there.
Wow.
A lot of horrible stuff happened that year, and everything was tried. All kinds of medicine was tried until after a year, God just miraculously healed me. I wake up one day, I'm able to understand who I am. I'm able to, acknowledge where I am.
And that a miracle?
Yes, man.
Wow.
And I thank God that God waited until we tried everything.
Yeah.
Because then you know who did it.
Yeah, obviously. He gets the credit.
Yeah, you know who did it. God healed me. After that, I went through a depression because now you've lost everything. You've lost album deals, contract deals, you've lost friends.
Yeah,
you can't even go to a radio station because you insulted the boss, you said a lot of horrible stuff. You can't go to studio. So it's like the thing that used to make you who you are is taken away from you. So you feel like you're nobody. Everything is stripped. You are just you and your heart and probably your family. That's all. Everything else, education. Because remember, I learned how to read late. So school was that important to me. It defined me. It made me feel important.
Yeah.
So that now is stripped away from you because you've been dropped out of school.
Wow.
So it was a whole year of depression, a whole year of feeling like, let me just end my life, until I came across the same scripture I told you about, Isaiah 43.
Yeah.
And in the 18th verse, it says that, that forget the former things, do not dwell in the past. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? So for me, it was like I should forget the former things and not dwell on what I've lost, the things that have happened to me. Because for me, it was always about, I can't get back that stuff. God, do you know what I've lost? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So still holding on to the old things.
But I got to a place where I was like, you know what, God, help me with this depression. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Help me with my school. I'm tired. Help me even with the fame and the connections I had because I'm tired of living a depressed life.
Yeah.
And man, just like I prayed when I was 12 years old for God to teach me how to read, the same happened. Within 2 months, sponsorship to go back to UNZA came on board. I went to the university. I now have a degree. Deals came back on the table again. That's when I even wrote my Dobi. The first liner of the chorus says, forget the former things and never dwell in the past.
Yeah.
So that was from that depression that I wrote that. After finishing university, I went on. Immediately, God provided a platform for me to be on TV. So things just started opening up. And when I look back at my life, I was like, you know what? Let me tell my story to people out there because there could be somebody who's in a hopeless situation.
Right.
And when they read, they'll be like, huh? He went through worse than me.
Yeah.
So maybe there's hope for me also. So I only speak from reality and giving hope to people.
Absolutely. Amazing book. Go to the bookstores and get yourself a copy. Very, very inspiring. Now, you mentioned somewhere in your book where you say God is in the business of restoring lives. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, maybe just offbeat, why do you think God lets things happen to us sometimes?
I think sometimes it's about Him, because for me, after that happened, trust me, there are very few things that really scare me and shake me off. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like you go through...
Give you a whole different...
Yes,
strength.
like you... There's so many times people let me down, even with big deals, but I never stop pursuing. Because like I've seen... How can I put it? I have seen God at His peak in my life.
Yeah.
So everything else that falls in, any other illness that comes below mental illness, I will not be shaken.
Right.
Yeah, because literally that is losing your mind. And only the one that made your mind can put it back together. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
So me, I thank God for what I went through, because now I can encourage people. I have so many people calling me, man. So many people inboxing me. The other day, a woman called me saying the husband was, wrongly accused and is in jail and doesn't have hope.
Right.
And when she heard my story, she had given up. When she heard my story, she started praying again for the husband. I get youths calling me saying, you know what, I'm just from the doctor and they've told me I'm HIV positive. And immediately I got home and switched on the TV. I was listening to you telling your story and you've just given me hope. It's like I never heard anything from the counseling session when I was being counseled about HIV and AIDS. And your story counseled me, made me feel like there's hope, So for me, when I hear such things, I don't even ask why God made me go through that, because it's like you go through something, you're one person, but now millions benefit because of that one story. They have hope again, and their lives are changed. So you don't even cry. You feel good that, wow, I went through something bad for good.
Right.
Yeah.
There could be right now somebody watching, and they could be in a situation like you were in. What would be your ultimate advice? Somebody like that.
Yeah. My advice for you will be, God is the ultimate solution. You know, because at times we look so much to man. I mean, my parents would tell you at first they thought, and Chinese doctor, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
that's
that
only
failed.
thing I can work.
You know, so oftentimes you feel like, this is the end. But you know, the Bible says that, you know, God has already set an end for our problems. He's already set it up. You know, the devil can try to mess it up. Even you can mess up your own life, but God has already set an end for that problem.
Right.
And at times you want to blame God. I also did that. 40 years, you know what I mean? But what would that solve? Because Him is God. He's not affected by our problems. So why not swallow your pride and just say, you know what, God, this is the issue. Help me. I just need your help.
Yeah.
And for me, oftentimes when I've done that, help has always come through. Even simple things like reading, you know, difficult things like mental illness, God has always come through for me. So if He did it for me, He can do it for people out there. All you have to do is just ask.
Right. Get yourself a copy. It's called Born to Win. It's out there in the stores. Man, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on the show, man. As we leave with your video. What do you talk about in this one?
Yeah, the title of the song is called Aseluke.
Yeah.
The song is asking for God's presence, God to come down and heal our land. And that is not just a national thing, but also in your personal life.
Right.
You know, people complain about relationships. People complain about jobs, family issues. But for me, the question is always, have you ever taken time to even pray about these things? To just say, God, give me a job.
Right.
Say, God, give me a wife. God, give me finances. You know, have you taken time to ask God for these things? Because the Bible says you have not because you ask not. You know, people joke. There's this joke about when God created Eve for Adam, and then Adam sinned, and then he said, no, it's this woman you gave me. I didn't want this woman.
Yeah.
And people joke and say, after that, God said, okay, everything I give you now is to ask.
Yeah, you need to ask now.
So yeah, and it's very true. You need to pray about these things. You need to seek God about them. And that's what Aseluke talks about, to say, you know, let God come down and indwell us.
Antonio the Yellow Dove was my guest on the show today. Make sure to catch me again next week. Appreciate you, man, one more time.
Yeah, thank you.
Aseluke taking us home. This has been the Heatwave. I've been Charlie. You've been